whatever it may be, all of those people that interact with you and that you interact back could be a sale at some point. So there's some people that do it really well. I don't do it as best to speak on it, but social media is a source that you guys should think about.
So my husband, moving here and being new to this area, he's the expired king when we were in Florida. Now, so that he's having a challenge on, getting those lead sources. So he has been teaming up with a videographer here on island, and he's actually doing that today as well in my car. And he's doing a series called Maui Mondays.
Awesome.
So all things Maui and a little bit of real estate here and there. And I'm doing more of the phone calls.
Awesome.
That part of the lead gen.
Yeah, it's really about finding your niche. So for me, you guys said sphere. I moved to Oregon without a sphere in that area. Open houses, I wasn't licensed when I initially moved there. Networking, you can do that anywhere you go. But my source was for sale by owners. There's a large enough amount in Portland that I was able to really find that and hone that skill set, that I work primarily with listings. I work with sellers more than I do buyers. And so there's no right answer. All of these sources could be your one leg of business. And I don't suggest making only one your leg of business. You should have 2 or 3 that you try and do well. But find the one that you can really tip your hat to. Find your one that you want to speak about. Find your one that you guys want to do a course at the other office at for. That one, and then just commit to it. 3 days a week. 3 days a week, that's all it takes. 2 hours a day, you put your phone away, you tell your family, you tell your friends. From 9 to 11, really, this is my business servicing time. And you can catch me at 11. I think Gary Keller even says life starts at 11:01. That's one of his quotes. So that is one thing I would say, if you guys can take one thing away from today, try and lead gen every day, and if uninterrupted, it'll have a significant amount of impact on your business. And just find a source. So you guys don't have expireds, you don't have cancels, but we said open house is a good one. So if you're hosting an open house, who's walking in that door? Leads. Just plain and simple leads. They could be buyers. They could be neighbors that are one-day sellers. They could just be passerbys. Regardless, they've shown some interest in real estate, whether they're looking and they're 3 years down the road. Hopefully you tell them, I'll be in business for 3 years from now. Let's talk. And you put them on some sort of drip campaign, or you put them on some sort of contact system where you reach out to them every 3 months. Maybe you put in their birthday. Maybe you don't think they're gonna buy or sell for 10 years. Don't not talk to them for 10 years. Find a way to still keep in contact with them. But regardless, they're a person that may be interested in buying or selling at some point. You guys have, I would assume, a lot of relocation business here, right? Mm-hmm. Are you guys allowed to solicit or talk with businesses that are recruiting, or the hotels that have people coming and staying?
Yes.
Are you?
I'm not personally, but our agents are
an
allowed
agent
to.
could?
Yes.
Perfect. There you guys go. If I was living in this area, that would be a source that I have. People are coming from other states. We just went around the room, and besides your family has been here 200 years.
Michelle's too.
Yeah, Michelle's too. I mean, everybody else seemed to come from a different area, and some of you may be renting, some of you may own already, some of you may have a desire to own. Regardless, that's business. So find whatever your source is.
So you say reach out to the hotels and ask them why?
That is a question I'll leave for Michelle on what you guys can legally do. Every state's, I'm sure, different.
Most of them have relocation companies they work with, so you could ask them which relocation company do they work with. They're usually a national company that they'll work with, and do they have a local contact?
Absolutely.
If not, you can reach out to them. If they say we don't have one, great, I'd love to come and meet with you and share the services we can provide.
Absolutely.
And then call me.
Yeah.
Happy to help
And-
you put something together.
Some of the smaller businesses might be a little easier to break into. Maybe you don't go to the Hyatt or the Westin or whatever. Maybe you go to one of the smaller mom and pop hotels. They're still hiring from either outside of the area or outside of the state. They have a manager position or a chef position that they may hire for at some point, and they have a hiring manager that's doing that talent acquisition for them. Okay, well, when they get their feet, when they land on their feet here, who's showing them homes, who's showing them properties to rent? That could be you. could be a great source. So that's lead generation. Any questions on why that's important? Everybody agree that's something that should be part of your daily regimen?
Yes.
Is that something that you guys, 9 to 11 here, I feel like Maui didn't really wake up till 10 o'clock. Is that pretty right? Yeah, unless you're a surfer, right? Unless you're a surfer, maybe you're stand-up paddleboarding, it seemed pretty sleepy. So if you can commit to maybe 8 to 10, whatever it may be, just find those hours that you can have uninterrupted time to facilitate leads. So that's lead generation, kind of talking to people about that. Any other questions? Next, we said going into servicing clients. So we talked a lot about finding new clients. Unless you make your existing clients happy, you're not going to have happy clients, you're not going to have good reviews, you're not going to have repeat business. And as you become an agent and as you've been doing this for years, that should be one of your biggest pillars is repeat business. Past client referrals, current client referrals. We're a word of mouth business. If you go to a restaurant, sure there's Yelp and sure there's this and sure there's that on how they get existing business. If you had a great meal and their service was fantastic, you got to coffee with a friend the next day, what are you going to say about that? You didn't tell them. The same thing with your real estate agent. Same thing. And like it or not, real estate sales, either whether you're buying or selling, there was a survey that came out, I think, in 2017. It ranks higher than divorce in terms of stress levels. It's the most stressful thing that a person can undergo in their lives. So if they're going through that stressful time with you, and you make it seamless or you make it comfortable, guess what? You've got a client for life, and you got somebody that's gonna refer you and talk about you, and hopefully you've been able to connect with that person and they're level-headed where you can, maybe you can make a friend from that type of business. So servicing your existing clients is important. Following up on leads. So you hosted an open house on Sunday. Don't wait till Wednesday. Don't wait till Friday to give them a call. Did you promise them some statistics? Did you promise them some other properties? Did you offer to show them houses on Tuesday evening? Whatever it is, follow up. Input data. So if you've got a source like Boomtown or Sync or Contactually, as much information as you can put in there when it's fresh in your mind, the better. So you had all these conversations between 9 and 11, whether you were following up with open houses, you were posting on social media and interacting with those people, whether you were circle prospecting around an open house, you were having conversations with people. Make sure you put all of those notes somewhere. You can't rely on your head. You really cannot. Put those into, we talked about command. Put those into command. So you talked to a lady this morning and she told you about how she's got her daughter's high school graduation coming up. Maybe not this month, it is December. She's got a Christmas party that she can't wait to go to that she's hosting. Well, that's a conversation piece. You're a salesperson, and unfortunately, it's just a part of connecting with people. You could do it in an organic way. Don't try and push that topic. But if you can find a way to recall that and have a system that helps you do so, well, you just have a more fluid conversation. You'll have a more streamlined conversation with that person. You become a human and not just a salesperson on the other end of the line that's trying to get them into a house. You have conversations on a deeper level about what they do for a living, what their family size is, and information flows more seamlessly when you can recall parts about their life and they feel heard. There's someone out there talks about using people's names when in conversation. Using people's names and their names well. If you're not good with names, I don't suggest taking this on. Using the wrong name is the complete opposite. But using their name correctly can have a vast impact on people's conversations with you. If they feel heard, they feel known, they feel like you're talking with a friend. So that's what I would say is input as much of that information while it's fresh in your mind so you can recall later. Then we go on to break, which I might give you guys a break here soon. I've been talking a lot. Is really do take a break. If you guys are following a strict schedule like this, you may not. You may, do part of the schedule in the morning and part of the schedule in the evening. But find a way to break up your day if you are blocking in this much time, because you will get burnt out, you will get frustrated, you will need time away from the office to be able to be fresh and think in a different light. Some of this is going to be, we call it damaging. If you're circle prospecting and you've called 300 people in a morning and you've had 2 pickups, well, you're just sitting there for 2 hours on the phone. That's not a great list. I'll say if you got that list in your title office, get another list. Call something else. Find something that's working. Shift your gears if you can. But take that break in the middle of the day and away from the nitty and gritty so you can come back recharged. Because that's the biggest part of being in sales, is having energy. Having energy, having enthusiasm when you share information. It makes people relate in such a better way. Any questions for you guys? Otherwise, I might take a quick second break. Any questions? Anybody have so far? Perfect. So this, like I said, is designed a little bit for you guys. This is just my example schedule. Some of you that weren't in the industry before, one second if you don't mind, what did you do before you were in the industry? Were you, let's see, you were in the industry but just recently got licensed with Keller Williams. You were relocated from a different area?
Yeah, Florida, we were Keller Williams.
You were Keller Williams
6
as well?
years.
And what did you do before?
Nonprofit management.
Nonprofit management, okay.
That's my previous career.
Perfect. Just curious. Anybody else?
I'm a hairdresser.
Hairdresser? Okay. So I'm hearing some things, hairdressers specifically can be one of your biggest referral sources. Is whatever you did beforehand, use that as a source as well.
Okay.
You've met people that are not in your industry. Unfortunately, for the next 20 or 30 years, however long you're a real estate agent, you're gonna meet a lot of other real estate agents.
Yeah.
And they're not gonna help you with your business. They may share tips and tricks, but they're not gonna buy or sell a house from you. Your previous careers or your husband's careers, your spouse's careers, they are people that will need a real estate agent at some point. So you've got fellow people that you used to style hair for.
Yeah.
Those could be your clients. I'm sure you had a book of business back then. That same book of business should carry over to real estate. Nonprofit management, a little bit more difficult, but you can find a way to find those clients.
Uber too, right?
Yeah, I do Uber.
Say again?
I do Uber and Lyft right now.
Uber and Lyft. Yeah, that one I would say, we try not to push real estate much there. You may, it may come up in casual conversation, but some people, you've got them in a confined space. Some people might rub some people the wrong way.
I have a binder in the back of my passenger and driver
Awesome.
seat, and it's filled with listings. And
That's awesome.
instead of the gossip magazines, people flip through those, and then I can see them flipping through them, and then it just begins the conversation.
That's great.
I
Yeah.
don't have my business cards in there. I just say my business card is an app, and I have the link so they can click it, take a picture of it.
That's great. I've not heard that done that well before. I've heard it done in a bad way, so that's a very streamlined way of doing so. Awesome. Anyone else that wasn't in real estate, what did you do before?
Financial services company.
Financial services? Planning, or what type of services?
Life insurance.
Okay.
So I have,
Were you able to take any of your clients with
yes,
you?
yes.
Oh, awesome.
And I've been online for a while now, so I have a lot of family, friends that calls me needing house or
Yeah.
in time. But I just started, so in April.
Yeah, I would say use social media and word of mouth to tell people, like all of you that are new to the career. You've had friends and people silently cheering you on, whether it's on Facebook or just some friends that maybe you've told that you were taking your real estate license. They should know that you passed. They should know that you're in real estate. They should know that you're doing this or that for your clients. They should know that you're having some success. They'll not only be happy, but they'll also pass that information on. So I challenge you guys. We had some trouble getting some sources up here. I challenge you to find other sources like that in your life. Yeah, whether it's you've got children, it sounds like. Yeah, not to push it at schools, but it'll always come up organically if you're living your business. It'll come up organically. All right, guys. Any other questions? I'm sorry, I skipped over your question.
So what are you looking for in a referral partner? People are moving from Oregon, want to buy, invest.
Great question, I like it. What am I looking for in someone here in Maui if we've got
Yeah.
business? The biggest thing is response time. Communication is key. If you run a business and you pass on a client to another agent, as so long as they're keeping you in the loop, not only communicating with the referral partner, but communicating with the client.
Right.
Just communication is the hugest aspect that I think some agents fall by the wayside on, is what are the next steps? What do they need to be worried about? What are you handling for them that they don't need to worry about? Like I mentioned, it's a very stressful process, and unless you ease people's concerns beforehand, everybody gets those neurosis at night, and you start to think about what is the next day, what is this? Especially if you're a seller, right, and your home's up for sale. So the biggest thing for me is communication.
Yeah. Thank you.
And send a thank you card. Let's do that.
Thank you, cards are great. Yeah, if you guys don't do, I don't know the rules here in Hawaii, but mailing is another huge source. So we didn't talk about farming at all. You guys do farming?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody do farming well? Anybody not know what farming
Well,
is?
we're on a consistent direct mail schedule.
Awesome.
To our farm.
Great. Yeah, so pick a place where you live or you want to do business and tell them about who you are. Deliver things, goods, services, whatever it may be to that neighborhood and own that particular neighborhood. How large is your farm?
530 some units in our condo where we live, our condo complex.
Perfect.
We've sold 2 in there so far, and I've picked up a couple buyers in there.
Perfect. Yeah. I would say start small. 500 may be a little bit big to start. Start 100. Find a block or something that you can do and do it consistently. Farming is one source that you'll have to do at least 12 touches on a year. Some of them are 18 touch systems, some of them are 36 touch. Whatever you guys are using here in the office is a touch system. You have to be consistent. So it should be a size that you can maintain for at least a year in order to see business from that. It doesn't have to be fancy, it just has to be consistent. Yes.
So like if you live on a cul-de-sac with 7 other houses, have that be your farm?
You could, yeah,
Like just farm to your neighbors?
absolutely. So farming could be, what do you guys, I don't want to give out your secret sauce, what do you guys do for your farm?
So we do direct mail,
Okay.
obviously. Anytime I do an open house in there, most circle prospect, just sold, calling, and that's on my list to do because we just closed. We just did our second food drive in our clubhouse for
Great.
the year, so we do that twice a year, and just being on the Facebook page. And,
Yeah.
sharing.
Anybody use Nextdoor here? Nextdoor's huge. It's a neighborhood site. Facebook is the same way. You can have neighborhoods that are neighborhood pages.
So our next door for Kula already has like at least 3 different agents on there using it to compete with one another.
So maybe
You
not
just gotta compete. Yeah.
So I created a Facebook group just for my cul-de-sac.
Awesome.
So that way I can compete with next door and they can all stay on it.
There you go. Yeah, put on block parties, whatever it is you do. I mean, don't go beyond your own limits, but just be yourself. So let's say you're cul-de-sac, yeah, be their real estate agent, absolutely. Yeah, they see you every day, they see you come in and out of your home or your house or your condo, whatever it may be. They know you're going to work, they know you're working hard, they see you putting up Christmas lights if you're gonna celebrate Christmas, whatever it may be. Have that conversation and just have them know who you are. Tell them what you do. Awesome. Any other questions on farming, guys? Farming's a good one. Farming is how you ask how you break into luxury, and I'll go into that a little bit more. Farming is a huge part of luxury. If you don't farm and you're not in front of them in so many different ways, people don't feel that you're the neighborhood expert. They don't feel that you're luxury requires some investment, unfortunately, because the stakes are so much higher. You have to unfortunately pay to play a little bit, and farming is a big part of that.
How about choosing your farm wisely? I know about turnovers and stuff like that.
Great question. Yeah, so don't choose a condominium that's had one sale in the past 3 years. Choose a farm that has had some turnover. Choose a farm that is a price point that you want to work in. That is maybe a demographic that you want to work in. That is in an area that you can get to conveniently. Don't choose a farm on the other side of the island that you are never in. Choose a farm that you can interact with in other ways. You guys just said you met each other on Uber. That's awesome. You were in the same neighborhood at that particular time. So do you go to a specific coffee shop? Do you go to a particular place that you rent a stand-up paddleboard? Whatever it may be, use it around your life so that you can interact with those people maybe in multiple ways. And it's just an organic part of you. I think the biggest mistakes some new salespeople try and do when they're just getting into the industry is they try and emulate somebody else. They do what somebody else is doing. And that's good to an extent, maybe do half of what they're doing. But then, unless you're being unique, you're just another salesperson. You must be yourself. And that's a big part that I think new people in the industry fail to find. And unfortunately fail. Did that answer your question? I mean, that was a great point, thank you. Yeah, choosing your farm wisely is huge. Don't just pick 500 places that you're not gonna get any sale in. Find some place with turnover. Okay, great. We went on a little bit of a rant there, it's great. So we talked about having a break, recharging. What you guys like to do here is our fruit juice is big. People go to the beach at lunch. What do you guys do? What do you guys do for lunch?
I go home and take my dog out.
Take your dog out? Yeah, awesome. Find a way. I would be on the beach, by the way, but I don't know if it's pretty windy out there today. But find a way to get whatever it is you do to recharge. So you can come back energized. For me, I have to have a second cup of coffee in the afternoon, maybe 3, and come back with a new mindset. So the thing we do right after break is kind of hit the things you forgot about. So it's follow up, follow through, finish. So did you promise something that you didn't do? Did that come up when you were having your afternoon coffee on break? Did you find, so when you go and have a break, your brain space goes to a different level of thinking. You're not in the nitty gritty. You find a way to look at big picture problems. You find somebody else that was maybe an Instagram moment or a Facebook moment, and you find that different way. So follow through, follow up, and finish. Use that hour to do the things that you've forgotten. What did you forget? And maybe some of you are checklist people. Anybody checklist people?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a good time to make a new checklist. So maybe you don't do it at the beginning of the day because your day is already planned out. Maybe you do it then. What did I forget? What have I not done from the last day? And execute at that point. 2 to 3, we like to set up listing appointments and buyer tours. Do you guys tour buyers in your own cars? Do you meet them at the homes? What do you guys do?
Follow
Meet them most often? Meet them. That's pretty standard now. About 10 years ago, right? Everybody got Google Maps and Apple Maps. People have busy schedules. You just end up meeting them. How do you share your tour with them? How do you share where you're going? Anybody?
Document.
You give them like a printout?
I'll send it to an email the day before, and if we meet at the office first to follow up, I'll give them a booklet.
Great. There's a way, I don't know what apps you guys are using, but there's a way to share. You plug in 3 destinations on Google. There's a way to share that exact Google link to their cell phone. You can text it straight to them. They click it, and they follow that same map. And you just make it your location so it goes from wherever they are. I like the part about emailing the day before. People like to know where they're going, what they're doing, how long it's going to take. They like to be able to plan their lives. So my suggestion would be don't set up a tour in the morning that's happening an hour later. Maybe do it the day before. So when I say set up listing appointments and buyer tours, hopefully that's not for that day. Hopefully that's for the next day. But if you say, well, my buyer wants to see houses today, well, that's fine. Just show them that house today. Show them those 2 houses. There's nothing you can do about that. They're urgent. Just get them in the car, get them to that house, make them happy. But if you can, always try and be the professional. Always appear put together. So plan the day prior by sending them the map, by sending them the locations, by sending them the statistics, so they can even do their own research and feel informed for the next day. That way they can plan their day as well. Listing appointments. Craig has been teaching across the US, my boss, lately, and he spoke with someone in Denver that is just crushing that market. I've previously not been in real estate, but he's become a listing machine in that market. And he asked him, he was like, how did you break into this? And he said, I just do not lose. I do more research than all of my competition. There is not one thing I don't know when walking in that door. There is not one house in that neighborhood that has sold in the past 12 months that I can't quote the price and how long it was on the market. I do not lose. That's huge. Most of us can't quite go to that level, but do enough research where you can recall statistics, you can recall the schools, where you can recall what it is that makes that neighborhood special, why people are relocating to it, what other sales your office has had in that. I mean, you all are individual or part of a team? Who's an individual agent here? Most everybody? You guys are maybe a team, you said?
My husband.
You have a husband, yeah, okay. So most of you are individual agents. So in that case, you don't have the beauty of using other brokers on your own team, but you are your own office. You guys are Keller Williams and you want each other to succeed. So long as you have the approval of your peers, use a win that one of the other of you had. You guys have all had a chance to meet each other and talk about your backgrounds. Now you know each other. Use each other to your advantage. You know, people want to work with well-established businesses. So if you appear like a professional, maybe you haven't had a listing in the past 12 months, but one of your peers did, and it sold really well, and you know about it, and it was the block over. We'll talk about it in an educated way. I know that listing agent. We worked together in the office. She did a really good job.
Yeah, I had a story. I was working on getting a listing appointment, and one of our other agents, Randy Antonio, had a listing in the area, and so I asked her if I could sit it, and sitting it, inviting my prospective guy in, you know, legitimized me, and I got the listing. And
Great
so
job.
I was just working with, you know, I sit opens for other people too, and, you know, just to be strategic about what you're doing and working with your coaches, you know, and people that have been around the block, you know, ask them advice. And so
Great job. Yeah. Go
I'd
ahead.
say too, if, you know, we get the little report from the office sales, because we are a big team, so our team has sold, if you want to put it that way. You know, statistics for the office sales.
That's great. Yeah, as a new agent, you can't say, without lying, and hopefully none of us are, you can't say a whole lot about your own success, your own triumphs. So use those around you that you are surrounding yourself with, so long as you have their approval. Sometimes, and it's up to you guys here, I don't want to put words in people's mouths, but you can advertise each other's listings on Facebook or Craigslist or whatever it may be. With the approval of a listing agent, a buyer's agent can advertise that listing as their own almost. You know, obviously you're not going to put your name all over a flyer and hand it out or things like that. That's kind of stepping on each other's toes. But you could do it in a tasteful way that also generates business and generates clout and account for, you know, it looks as if you have business in that area as well. Any questions on that? Just listing appointments. Yeah.
What about like if you go to, you go to see a home, maybe it's up the caravan, and you take a little video of yourself in the house when you're describing the rooms and the view and blah, 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 then you post it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Do you need to get permission?
Probably should.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's different rules, social media, I don't know it here, but sometimes you have to have the appropriate logos as well.
Okay.
So you'll have to have that in either the comments or a part of the video. You'll have to have Keller Williams, Realty Maui, or whatever it may be. So you'll want to check with
And your license.
the office on that. Your license number sometimes, yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, here,
Here.
okay, all the time.
But at least it shows that you're like previewing properties and you're excited about it.
To post a video, you don't need the listing agent's approval. If you're videotaping it, if you're maybe soliciting buyers, I don't think you need their approval either. If you're advertising, you're hosting the open house, I don't think you need listing agents. It's only when you're showing it as your own home, as your own listing, but I think you need the approval. And that's kind of, you want to talk maybe amongst your peers on that anyway, especially if you're doing business amongst each other.
Okay.
Questions there, guys? Yeah, that's a great one. always take videos if you're at a brokerage tour. Always take photos if you're at an open house. Show that business off. Yeah, we don't do it enough. And when you're doing those broker tours, some people have done a really good job of finding something they like to do. Some people are obsessed with kitchens or backyards or the staging of the home. You know, find something that makes your page organic or unique, that you showcase other than others. Unfortunately, not everybody wants to see our faces always. It's fun, and it shows that you're a person behind whatever it is you're posting, but try and give them other content. And your Facebook, people that know you will want to interact with that if you're in the video. But if you're soliciting outside people, sometimes it's best to step away and give them the information rather than yourself. But great idea.
So if you're at a broker tour, you're a caravan, you find a great house, but it's not a Keller Williams listing, can you still take that video as long as you have that listing agent's permission and post it? But you still have to credit the lister, the listing brokerage, right?
In Oregon, you don't have to, and I don't think you do here either. So if you're at a broker tour and you show I don't know if you guys are called Full Banker here or another brokerage, you show another brokerage's listing, I don't think you need to get their approval at all. They're advertising that home and you're not soliciting it for sale, or you're not soliciting it to get the business of that seller. You're looking to get a buyer for that home, right?
Right.
That's your job. So I don't think so. You may want to check with the local RMLS rules, double check on how you market it properly with like a logo and your license number so that you're doing it properly, but I don't think you need the listing agent's approval.
So what I do is when I do like a video, because I pull an open house for another brokerage, and I'll do the video and I'll put all my words, you know, I'll edit it so I can put wording, this is a great house, blah, 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 and at the very end, I'll put listing provided by brokerage. Because most of the time, people are gonna sit there and click on the whole thing and read to the very end, you know, just my.
Yeah. Put your information in bold and there's down there in italics for this.
Well, you have it.
In a different language.
It's a strike through, right? You can't even read it.
3 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, one thing, yes, always you could do that. I would just say do it in a tasteful way, because I don't know how many agents there are here. There's 10,000 agents in the Portland metro area, and you would be surprised how many deals I've done, repeat deals with similar agents as well. So just always keep that in mind. You may run into them again.
Right.
You may run into them where your buyer wants a good deal. You may run into them where you're the listing agent and they have a buyer for you. So just always play nice. Always.
Right.
No matter what brokerage, where they're from. So that's setup. Talked about buyer's tours. We talked about listing appointments. Listing appointments, I would say, bring statistics.